Welcome to this bite-sized video for the Digital Support Services T-Level, where we'll explore Assignment 3 for the Cybersecurity Occupational Specialism. The Cybersecurity OS consists of 3 task-based assignments with a total duration of 27 hours and 30 minutes, designed to assess the 3 performance outcomes shown, each of which indicates the knowledge and skills required to enable students to achieve threshold competence in the chosen occupational specialism. For each performance outcome, there will be a list of knowledge and skills. The knowledge statements show what the students need to know, and the skills are what they need to perform. Some of the content may be built up upon from your Year 1 delivery. The occupational specialism will be assessed through a series of synoptic assignments which have been designed to be as occupationally realistic as possible and are externally set by NCFE. Now this video will focus on Assignment 3 and it's split into 3 tasks. So Task 1 is about undertaking a risk assessment. Task 2 is about writing a report that includes recommendations for controls that could be included in the information security policy. And Task 3 is writing a document to recommend a range of actions that could be taken to provide a disaster recovery document. The 3 tasks that make up Assignment 3 will be set by NCFE and administered by the provider over 2 days. The total time to complete all tasks is 6 hours 30 minutes, including 30 minutes to read through the additional supporting document. The times and dates will be specified by NCFE and will take place on the same day but in 2 separate sessions, followed by Task 3 on Day 2. Dates and times for each task will be found in our key date schedule, and internet access is allowed for all 3 tasks. Students will work independently under supervised conditions, given a separate user account that is locked at the end of each assessment session, and evidence should be returned to NCFE by the date specified and will be marked by NCFE. You will need access to the following resources in order to complete the tasks. If students have any access arrangements or reasonable adjustments, such as additional time for the assessments, then you should apply that internally and increase the time set by the relevant amount. The assessment material should only be available to students during this scheduled session, so do take account of this and ensure that you have secure storage areas for students' evidence. And all screen prints should be labelled and included in a single PDF file at the end of the assessment session. Now, Assignment 3 Task 1 is worth a total of 30 marks, and marks are awarded against the skills and knowledge performance outcomes shown. To complete Task 1, students must undertake a risk assessment and validate a network with regards to cybersecurity. Students can use the time allocated in any way they want, but the task must be completed within the time limit. A template will be available for the completion of a risk assessment along with a supporting document. Students will have 2 hours 30 minutes to complete this task, and they can use the time how they want, but all parts of the task must be completed within the time limit. Students will use the information in the scenario, brief, task instructions, and the supporting documentation throughout the task. To help complete Task 1, students will be provided with an additional supporting document that they must refer to throughout the task, as the document will give more detailed information about the company's infrastructure and their security measures. The risk assessment should be based on this document. Students should allocate 30 minutes to read through the document to familiarise themselves with the content. That will cover areas such as physical security, IT systems within the organisation, and processes and procedures the organisations may have in place. Students could identify and color code sections of the information into different risks such as physical, administrative, and technical. Now, an example risk assessment on the screen now. Now, the risk assessment template will have all the necessary column headings pre-populated, ready for students to complete. Students, whilst referring to the supporting document, could include threats for physical risks, and these could be examples such as entrance gates being left unlocked, dummy cameras are being used, the fire doors left open, no alarms fitted, windows left open during non-working hours. Now, examples for administrative risk could be no procedures in place for accessing the company, insufficient or no policies in place. Technical risks could be local admin rights set up, say for a software developer installing any software they want. Now, clear explanation of the vulnerabilities and assets, along with a RAG rating for the impact, likelihood, and the risk. And actions are identified with detailed explanations of the actions taken to mitigate these risks. Now, the actions could be linked to the controls, and the controls should be identified as either technical, physical, or administrative, and stated whether these are preventative, a deterrent, a corrective control measure. Now, a preventative control aims to stop a risk from happening in the first place. So examples include security measures like firewalls and access controls, training programs for employees, and quality control procedures. Deterrent controls discourage individuals from taking actions that could cause harm. So examples could include security cameras, alarms, and disciplinary policies. Corrective controls are used to address risks that have already materialised. So these aim to minimise the damage and prevent similar incidents from ever happening again. Examples include an incident response plans, disaster recovery plans, and a root cause analysis. Now, assignment 3, task 2 is worth a total of 20 marks, and marks are awarded against the skills and knowledge performance outcomes shown. Now, this task will be scheduled after the completion of task 1 and sat in one session on day 1. Students will have 2 hours to use the information in the brief and the task instructions to assist in writing an information security policy report that contains recommendations and justifications for controls that could be included within the information security policy for the company in the brief. Now, students should consider the kinds of controls that should be included in the information security policy, and from the points given in their task 2 instructions, create a report in assisting in the writing of an information security policy document. For example, potential security controls such as password policy, ensuring passwords are hard to compromise, and staff understand how best to keep strong passwords secure. Tailgating, preventing an intruder gaining unauthorised access to the site. Locking screens, preventing unauthorised access of staff members' account while away from the computer. Encryption of mobile data, ensuring confidentiality data cannot be accessed in the event of theft or loss. And mandatory training of staff, so reduces errors or social engineering style attacks from giving access to company systems. Installation of firewalls or antivirus or anti-malware software. So it reduces the risk of malicious malware or viruses accidentally being installed on company computers. Bring your own device. the AIL's requirements and restrictions while undertaking work activities using personally owned devices, followed by these additional user and administrative measures that could be included where possible. Students may reference frameworks, standards, or regulatory bodies and legislations. Please do refer to the guide standard example materials available on the website, where you'll be able to see different examples at a distinction and also at a pass. Now, assignment 3, task 3 is worth a total of 20 marks. So marks are awarded against the skills and knowledge performance outcomes shown. Now, this task will be scheduled after the completion of task 2 and sat in one session on day 2. Students will have 2 hours to use the information in task 3. In the brief, the task instructions and support and documentation to provide disaster recovery support. Now, to help students complete this task, a breakdown of the current company infrastructure and security measures will be provided to students within an additional supporting document that will need to be referred to throughout the whole task. Students should focus on recommendations that allow for disaster recovery and restoring operations ahead of concerns. Now, on the website, you'll find guide example material for the task. Students should take a logical approach when documenting the evidence. Now, it's always good practice to start with an introduction where students should go back over the information given in the task instructions and in the brief and the supporting documentation, followed by the document scope, in which they can list objectives that the document will hope to achieve. Some students may wish to use tables within the document to help organise the information based on their recommendations, the costs and justifications. Now, having clear sections in the report for each security element and breaking up the costings into individual tables following each proposal will allow the reader to focus on the costs involved for each element. For example, the hosting section. This would allow them better to identify how the budget is being spent. Then in the final summary table to show the overall costings and key recommendations. We hope you found this useful and have a better understanding of assignment 3, and do see the other bite-sized videos that form part of this occupational specialism series. If you haven't already done so, please do scan the QR code and leave feedback. Thank you.